big stuff going on. I'm just gonna start right here on my Twitter. I've been posting images from the Earth magnetic anomaly grid graph. So recently I've been talking about looking into the Himalayas, and that led me to this system, realizing that the Earth's fracturing of the fault line which came through the Mediterranean and up through the North Atlantic, and basically stopped when it stopped here. It didn't stop. It seems to have gone into that particle, which then supernovaed or novaed, whatever we want to call it, if we at some point acknowledge it to exist and then give it a name. Because it's not a supernova, but it is, since we do call like radioactive decay, we call it radioactive decay, not supernova. Supernova is in fact star specific, I would say. I personally use it generically as a catch-all for that same mechanic, just under the unspoken that it is for that particle, its form. So like if I'm saying supernova of this particle, I don't mean literally what we as a most strict definition of the word supernova. If we want to get caught on the language I use, just for the record, obviously it's not supernova, but it is a supernova. So I've been just calling it nova, and I think maybe I'll tend towards just nova. So this particle novaed, and it sent it basically broke through this boundary down here and deflected into two streams, creating the Himalayas and all this stuff. I guess I could creating the Himalayas and breaking through the boundary here as well between polygons. I'm just gonna go ahead and talk as if you have been listening to me. So, if what I say doesn't actually make sense, then I would say it's because there's prerequisite information. And to go back to until you feel that you can understand what I'm saying. Which maybe is at the beginning, maybe is at my As It's Written in the Cosmos videos, at my Dwarka video, at my Theory of Everything video, which is really the beginning. It's like in the infancy. It really has changed. The theory has been evolving, but it just is a path I'm walking, that I'm following, that's really leading to major nova events where the terrain is changing. So, anyway, this I found this is the North Pole-ish region. It's actually, I believe it's here, actually. Somewhere there. Because the fracture comes here. So the fracture comes here, so that means it's just to the right of it. Which really is like this. It's probably this. And just this segment here. Something of that nature. Is this block at the top, this thing here. So this though, I found it interesting because I don't know what to make of them. I've just observed their existence. Is the shallograms like this? Like usually they're like this. This is common. Not common, but like this is like the structure they tend to take is this like spiral and the end. But like this, it doesn't have those features at all. These also almost inevitably have these little bumps here, which interestingly is right next to this. Like it's a node that exploded and started a chain reaction, removing the. Oops, that's right. I'm not on my Twitter here. It's like I can just click back, removing the region around it, creating basically a void, a low density region relative to the surroundings to a point where it essentially is like the shallogram top here. I think that's happening. There's even maybe there looks like there might be a spiral off of it. So maybe it's creating a new like spiral center in some way. I don't know. I don't know what to make of these much, but I just observed that. So there's that. And I mean, I've mentioned it, but I'm gonna like really, I want to get to it. I discovered it in one of my recordings, but now I've kind of mapped it out in a way where I think it's like, dudes, look at this. So here's the where the fault line comes in, stops here, and here's that particle, that supernova, novaed, and went through the boundary of the system and literally and carved in to basically create the Siberian traps. And but the flow, so I didn't realize until while I was recording one, which is the one that I think this is where it goes into the, yeah, here's the Himalayas. Himalayas, it goes in here, it bends right there to the Himalayas, and it bends upward to the, where basically, oops, where there's a polygon here. It's almost like a basin that got filled by a inflow that spiraled around the wall basically and flowed to this region. And then as it filled, it came in still and filled this region with like a void of like like once the dense material was filled in, like gaseous, like more maybe more ethereal, like it pushed the material out of the way, but it was really just ether, so it pushed it out of the way, and then it kind of carved a little nook for itself over here. But then it created the Himalayas here, where it bends off of it. You can literally can see its flow path like a river, bending off of it, bending off of it, and also bending over here. It looks like maybe up into this region and kind of flowing, meeting with it bends around this segment, kind of. this section here. Here's Tarim Basin. This is interesting. It's like a positive, negative, like really, really strong signal of one just above the Tarim Basin. I don't know why there would be one of those above it. It would be, it would maybe make a lot of sense right here, or maybe if there was like a right above each other. This really shows signs like the subtleties of the curvatures of a shallogram. Anyway, so of a shallogram in this way, just to make sense of that, if that made no sense. Here's some down here. This one, just the curvatures. Oh my god. Okay, so the flow comes here though, and I noticed this one, but then I noticed, wait a minute, there's an outline here, and I kind of started looking around. Okay, here for sure here's an outline, and for sure here's an outline, and then for sure then, because this one is for sure, and this one's for sure, this one's for sure too. So there's like a triple ring here, and then it even really radiates out further, maybe even out to there. Like ripple, 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 ripple. I didn't notice that until just now. And then it comes over here. So I started looking around. I'm like, wait, well, here, this kind of looks like this. This looks like an eye. This looks like an eye. So I started looking at this like, well, like this curvature isn't really like circular. But it kind of has here. So let me pull up the Twitter feed. Here's this, and here's this. And there's also this, like these two combined seem to have like wedged, like sent out like this arrowhead looking structure from the wedge of the two. Like two waves colliding at a indirect angle and just pushing material away, creating just a huge void, but then arcs. And so I did this. So there's one over, here's where it ends. So here's one, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. I'll hold that for a second. Maybe I can just put this on full screen even. And I'm sure there's definitely more subtlety, like there looks to be one here, although that might just be energy flows, but it looks to be one here and here. Like right there. And right there. That one's real, like, it seems to be there, but it might just be because like stuff got pushed by flows. Because essentially, I'll show you. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get out of this. Go up. Then I started. I was like, what if I just like start drawing it? So I'm like, well, the energy comes here, and then it basically, if it's within a certain range, it wraps in. Maybe this short circuit is the only feed, and it doesn't actually wrap in like I thought it did here. I might be mistaken on that. It just like gets pulled into this very wide vortex, because it may be that the flow, this is like a main current, and this is just like a lightning strike that came off of it kind of thing, not nearly as main currenty. But then this I notice has like a wedged. So if I remove it, it has this like wedge structure that kind of goes out to this island here. So I was like, well, maybe it like I just pointed it out. I don't know. Here's kind of maybe where the center-ish was. I don't know, but it kind of makes sense to me that maybe it it exploded in an uneven way where it basically like within this this wedge shape where it then like mainly flowed energy, this thing's explosion mainly flowed energy this way and allowed for like a channel from this thing to then start coming here. So I called that a deflecting mass because it has this shape that kind of flows with down here. So even though it doesn't have the under the deep down deflection to it, I still put deflecting mass because it just literally physically is like with this, but I don't know what to make of this exactly. Like it seems like it's stuffed this way. It's possible like there's also stuff going under this that like flowed in here, like that maybe this wasn't even filled really and just kind of swirled in this region, hanging out until finally this crater goes off because of the inflow here. Because this one was at like 140 or something million years ago, according to radiometric dating, where this thing will probably, given that it leads into the Siberian traps, well, the Himalayas come later, but especially leads into the Siberian traps. Given that, then it probably was before this. That's all. So then a 2-second system. Also this tangentially. So it flows tangentially, which then causes a vortex and a separation process to occur to make the more dense materials come to basically flow to the center and go down the drain. I believe is just like the process that would naturally occur then, maybe. To a point where like too much material is there and it just literally explodes. Although it may be the opposite, where it just creates like a void, like a gas, too much gas. Anyway, I don't want to. Okay, so second system. There's let me pull. I know. Here's the little one, and then there's another. This is kind of one here. This is for sure. One there. This one. This, and then like I said earlier, that it looks like it ripples out even further. But this one looks like, based on this, maybe it exploded in this direction. So it really is a chain reaction to this one's explosion. I'm not sure if this one needed to do anything. Like maybe because this one exploded, it created some blockage here. Like it was at equilibrium. It was like, I'm good, dude. I'm full. And so it like instead went down this way and started to again tangentially flow because it was coming this way, and kind of flow into this here. Also flowed across here. So I guess it also it went just like around this mass, this centerpiece thing, the Shaligram node, just around it so it didn't get caught in this flow. So let me pull up this, like this current. Hopefully I can watch this now. It's coming in. It literally separates on both sides, and then it reconverges over here. And then this thing, anything within a certain limit, spirals into this thing. So again, this current that's flowing around here. So this arrow, I'm not so sure about. It probably flowed much more to like this line. There's a pretty distinct line here. It's almost like the flow kind of pushed a mound at the edge here. So it actually, I don't think it wrapped around that much. I think it more so what didn't flow this way flowed down this way. And there's a barrier here. There was a barrier here. And when it came up here, it met the barrier here of this energy, so it had to turn into this system, maybe even creating it in the process. And just kind of spiraled in because it kept hitting like the snake game. It turned, hit the up, got to turn again, turns in, up, until it literally supernovas or novas this way, producing like a channel to the third system, as well as these rings, all the outlines of it. Literally, it's so crazy that it's become that like precise. It's because this just keeps going on where like this then, so let me pull this to here. We can see for sure a channel here between this. A channel flowed here. And so because there was like a boundary here, the energy was flowing into the spiral. But then the boundary got broken, and so energy then was coming around here and then went straight through the boundary and essentially through this way, which I guess it carved that path too in the process. Probably it like, because it supernovaed, it broke this boundary, and then essentially it was putting pressure over here and there's like a particle there. So it basically went around the particle and carved this path, where it then caused this thing to supernova or nova, and went up this way, spiraled in on this system and this system, which is basically centered in the same region, possibly the same system. This system, so like it comes in here, and the same thing happens. It looks like it might have made it through here. Let me see what I wrote here. I think I guess it might not have gone through here. I'm not sure. This might actually be, looking at this here, it looks like it went through there, but it may not have immediately, where it kind of went in to the wall, and the energy is flowing from past the second system over around that Shaligram node and over into this region, where there's one here, but before I get to that. Let's say that maybe this is still closed, maybe, although it may have opened as well. Even if it opened, it would have still spiraled in, like anything that went. It looks, let's say it's a good chance, actually, now that I think about it. It probably carved through this barrier and then through here and through here, because it looks like the flow here essentially built up a wall here, which is suggestive that it was able to flow through here rather than just simply flowing this way. But it did also flow this way. So the stuff that did flow this way produced a wall on the opposite side, so that we have this structure here formed. So it's suggestive, because this structure is here, that there probably was a free flow through it when this system went. And basically, it was probably such a quick chain reaction, it wasn't even able to, like, maybe this wasn't immediately broken, but there was just pressure then, a lot of energy, like even more energy in this region, to the point where this system finally was able to break this wall and like become one with its surroundings and allow free flow through it. So then this looks like it came down through here, and again we have a polygon, and it just filled the polygon, and with based on it being blue, with like a subtle energy that caused the low density. So this is a flow of ether energy in essence, which is heat, but it's just lacking like dense materials with it. It's very like pure heat. Okay, so 3. Okay, so then here, let's go on from the third system. So over this way. And then this is when I realized, oh wait, it's coming this way. Like here's the first one is like, it doesn't really make sense that it would, or the second system. Some reason I realized that it goes way too far. Like it must have just been a huge channel here, because like it's a huge channel here too. Like it makes sense. Like it was a continuously, pretty much the same size here as here. Like maybe a little bigger, a little smaller, but so then it's coming from the main channel, essentially wrapping around, hugging the inside here, as well as hugging the outside. And so wherever the polygon allows for of the actual shape of the surrounding earth, the polygonal shapes of like variations in materials, wherever it allowed for flow to occur, it filled the region. And so it flowed over here to the edges and just literally carving material with probably bringing it with it until it like couldn't, and just piled it up somewhere and shoved it out of the ground and as mountains. But so this one comes across. I noticed there's let me go back to here. There's a line here. I don't know if this is a like image, but it looks like it wraps kind of around maybe, or it just like comes across, just straight across here. It's just cutting across, but then it hits this wall and just kind of goes up. So this section I think just cut across and went up, where this section cut through it. So there's definitely some eddies here, some turbulence maybe like right here. And then it went around here, around the edge. Maybe I should pull this up. Around the edge. So we can even see the channels it's carving in the process. little, like, whatever they're called. I want to say lagoons or something. Little, like, side bodies, a bay or something. I guess a bay. Little bays. And then it goes on and it kind of wraps in. So here it goes into North America. So let me go back to here. So then it goes into North America here. It breaks through this barrier of the polygon and goes in. It also breaks through here a bit, it looks like. I haven't mapped this yet, but then it goes this way, and up here's Greenland, so up to Greenland. And so that's all mapped here. So we have this like flow of 5 distinct, like, major centers, epicenters of, like, nova events in the path of the flow of this energy that was traveling through the earth when it was expanding. Not done. Oh shit, dudes. So let me pull up the ones. These are the ones without labeling for these ones. So here is Gujarat, India. So here is Dwarka. Okay, so I said, what, the problem with this method that I'm doing here, where I'm starting at 1. I label this 1, but it's really not 1. It's like over here, like, it's from somewhere. So, like, fortunately, I know that it's from Dwarka, so why don't I start from Dwarka and just see what the earth underneath looks like, dudes? Oh my god. Okay, so here's Dwarka. And I said, well, I mean, I understand. It went this way to the Mediterranean. So let me generally look this way. And it does appear like it also goes up this way. I'll talk about that in a bit. I think it's related to the first sign of oceanic crust in the Himalayan region, where this energy just went right over here to some region. Something occurred over here because it didn't just go this way. Like let me pull up this. Like the Himalayas, at where it branches, like it seems like it went 2 paths. It went this way, and it also went this way, up this way, like maybe 2 opposite paths. Almost like racing. See who'll get to the finish first. Nice. So, let's go back. So here's Gujarat, India. The energy flows this way. And I looked around Africa, and I mean, it clear as day. It's hard to tell here, but we can infer that there's probably based on everywhere else, and like, there's probably a connection here from certainly based on this, even if it's not as distinct because the flows may not have been. Although maybe this is kind of crazy. I gotta think about that in a bit, but it does look like the flows went here. So that's cool. That's a good start. But it also looks like it didn't just go here. It also went up here, which is interesting. So it went up here, and let's follow it up this way. Maybe up this way. Basically right up through here. Basically right up here. Straight up and out to the Atlantic. So it went this way to the Atlantic and underneath Europe to the Atlantic. So let me just pull it up a little bit. And then where is it? Oh, let me pull up the image now. So Dwarka, ether flow, which I called energy flow because I don't want to offend people. And then also there's separations. Like there's here it comes down and it goes up, but it also goes down. Like it, there's a hexagon here, kind of shape, and then an actual hexagon. So it was able to somewhat flow down this channel. But it's hard to say what's going on here because the continents are not quite as well mapped. Some places are just not as mapped to tell what's going on. But then it goes up this way, and it cuts. It looks like it's a little full here, but it does seem like it cut this way. So maybe it cut this way initially, but then essentially the energy flow increased and made it go further past it. So this was like a shut off. This valve got shut off almost, and it just went past it and just came over to the to meet North America, because North America is literally at the edge of Africa at this point when these flows are occurring, and so North America is right there as well. So this looks notably like a huge freaking tidal wave underneath, just moving towards this region. I would point out that it's possible that Flemish Cap was right there, which is a little more in the tidal wave of this than, although this is pretty good energy. I mean, I'm just thinking. Okay, so then I just took another picture of it, I guess. I was feeling kind of excited, so I made two images between Africa and North America downward and Europe and North America upward. So this then I was like, where do I go from here? Then I realized, wait, I can just continue across to North America. So the flow, literally, it. Let me pull it up here. It looks like it cuts into this, like this whole. Here's another sphere. I don't think I've labeled that one. Here's another nova. Another nova. Not to be trying to label them all. I'm gonna get them all first. Ha ha ha. I'm sorry, guys. I say it with love. I say it with love. So it seems to have utterly broken through this barrier, which is strongly suggestive that the tidal wave hit Flemish Cap and was probably actually Atlantis. I'm sorry to say that based on this, it's hard for me not to be like that. I mean, like this was a fucking tidal wave. The other one, this one, I mean, it's some energy, especially like so it flowed this way, and then this channel got stopped off. It also went down here again. It went down into it like this, and towards the core actually of like this. That's probably the core of the nucleus. Towards it, just kind of raining down on this region, not reaching it enough to really, it almost looks like it kind of gets pulled into it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things. So then this flow, let's go back. This goes through here. It breaks through the barrier of the polygon again, and gets to go and goes underneath. And then it just starts to flow down the coastline here. It looks like it breaks through again, and just kind of goes down the coastline. I'm not sure where exactly. Maybe this is the actual. This might be all new oceanic crust. I'm not sure where the actual edge of the continental shelf is. Let me just look at Google Maps of it. It is kind of close. So that's probably all this. So it really just got through this section and probably just blew up whatever's going on up here. Where is Flemish Cap? I don't think it shows it. Here is St. John's here. Flemish Cap is around here somewhere. Maybe here. I'll move on. I've been suggesting, not like aggressively, maybe, although not aggressively though either. Sorry, guys. Sorry, everyone. Uh, but I've been suggesting that it seems like if the Earth expanded, that Flemish Cap could have been an island in this general region of Strait of Gibraltar. So maybe that was Atlantis. But I mean, it really seems plausible just based on this. I also wonder what's going on there. That's pretty anomalous. Whatever's going on there. Maybe it's just a particle that got emitted. It does look like it's got kind of a ring around it here too, like literally a particle emitted from the center of the Earth. Just boop. It does look like it, and then maybe something here too, and here. So it comes through here, and it basically and up here. So like this supernova event carves through whatever region of barrier there is. It's hard to tell some places, obviously, but it manages to get through this region to create a channel this way, and it comes through this way. So it goes both paths into North America. Mind you, it's also going into towards the North Atlantic, towards those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chain reaction ones that I showed initially. So while it's doing that, it's going this way, going down through here, and basically flowing this way, and then the flow here broke through the barrier, and literally again through the barrier, both sides underneath Florida, which is just literally through it. While the channels being carved this way reconverged with it, so they basically flowed down this way. Into this general region over here. I guess there's one there, probably, where they essentially could go up here, and I'll go on from there, but I'm gonna go back over here. So the ones from the portion going under Florida then continued, but then notice this odd shape here. It's kind of like South America-y. because it literally is like an imprint of where South America was when the fracture line was going between the two. So it behaved as like a boundary. So the energy flow was coming this way. And I guess like literally carving down, creating like a, or just around, creating more of a low density to the point where there's literally a low magnetic anomaly and intensity anomaly here. It's just like literally coming down from this side and starts carving in, carving, until probably it's not like, although maybe not until, it just also is deflecting this way while carving in there, deflecting this way around it. And so these two kind of like, here's a boundary, the boundary here. This flow from up here cut through this boundary, whereas this flow that went under Florida pushed into this boundary, breaking through there, causing a flow that way. So like the flow was trying to go through this way, and then the portion that didn't go through there, that was more pushed down this way, found another route, and it came out this way, and basically probably split these apart. Down this way into South America, where it then went into another nucleus into South America, and kind of just like spread out into the larger polygons of South America. Spread out into them. Here's one that I guess got really influenced by it. Here's one. Here's a little one. Here's another one. Here's something, maybe like a square. Float into it. Here's one. Creating like nova events. Creating this. Although I wonder if there may not be surface details of this, but they're clearly novas, because they are like a supernova, because they start from a point and just burst outward into a ring structure. But so then it cuts across, I guess, and I wonder, literally right there, that point, if that's where Nader Crater is. Or was. Right there. Carving across. So the energy flow, mind you, South America and Africa are still conjoined. And Nader Crater, I should probably just bring this up real quick, steam it. Nader Crater was just recently found. Let me see if I actually position it. Just a bunch of other stuff. Okay, this wasn't like specific to it, I guess. Did I talk about it elsewhere? No, maybe not. I'm just trying to pinpoint where it is. Nader Crater, Guinea Terrace. I think it's this one. It may be this one. Oops. There's a little seamount type thing out there. It's probably this then. So it's like there. So notice there's this like tab. There's Nader Crater. I probably almost guaranteed that's Nader Crater right there. And then there's the like ether flow that was cutting it across the continent from here. Or here, was it? Oh, from here. Yeah, from here. While it was also cutting over here into this region, which was then literally going up into here. Oh my god, guys, I literally figured it out. Oh my god. Oh my god, dudes. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. Whew. Oh, that is, can I get an amen, baby? Oh, fuck. Oh my god. Oh, so it cuts to this. It goes to like the furthest point it can go, I guess. Here it goes. Here it gets kind of blocked off by this particle. There's a nice little S. Maybe I left that across time to kind of honor this moment. Let's pretend that's true. Then it flows across here, so it looks like maybe it kind of exits here. So maybe that is actually the one where Nader Crater is. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, see, there it is. Okay, yep. Okay, that cuts across to Nader Crater, which then cuts into this region also. And it continues though through the substantially like uniform, like free flow South America. Maybe there's something to the shaman like oneness. I gotta acknowledge it. That is really like not. It's almost like an unspoken like religion when world religions are discussed, like the things going on in South America that are like deeply spiritual, that are just not really on the radar. This, I feel, maybe represents it very well. The like one system of what I'm seeing here, where it's able to just flow through it. Anyway, pardon my things I say. So it appears to basically like the big block. It goes to the corner though for sure, which is definitely then just cutting right through. It cut through the boundary, I guess. It just went right through the boundary. That's why it didn't separate, because it was able in instances like this to cut through the boundary and physically enter into the next continent without like yet being like there's nowhere to go. Like the energy still has somewhere to go, and until there's nowhere for the energy to go within the earth, it's gonna just flow through it in this manner, it seems. So it goes through here. Creates a particle, or, well, not doesn't create it, it's absorbed by this particle probably, wraps through here. This part is kind of hard to decipher because I know it, these little bumps. Dude, oh my god, I just freaking explained those two, I think. It's almost like it's not It's not coming out of Africa or anything really to do with Africa, but it's to do with the separation of South America from Africa, where that exit point is moving away, and whereas it was connected before, so flow was going, there was a flow into here, a flow going into Africa from South America, from within South America, that flowed up this way. And then they started to separate, and so that flow left behind just some debris, but like because the Earth was actually physically expanding in radius, all of the oceanic crust was starting to fill in. Basically, the Earth supernova was a slow process. The beginning was it was filling in where it could fill in within the continents, like the empty space within the continents. The energy was flowing, but then it could no longer flow within that space, and so it then began to flow more so entirely out of entirely. So it's like it's those are the like early phases of a supernova process. It's filling in the layers, the empty spaces within the layers in some way. And then once it does that, it goes and fills in the empty space that has now been fractured open between them, and breaks the bonds. So like Nader crater goes off, and the bonds are breaking. Like there's actual energetic bonds between the systems breaking in like a chemistry sense. Literally, like truly, literally. Like this is a molecule. In a chemistry sense, breaking the bonds. And then when it does that, all of this from like the orange, red, all of this is then immediately starts to release, and it spreads. It starts to like well up to its full, basically to its a point where it no longer is expanding and is at an equilibrium. And like the internal pressure and the external pressure is just essentially balanced. It's not completely, but it's relatively balanced, so that it's gone between steady states. Like a activation energy of a reaction has occurred, and it's like vibratorily like approaching the steady state. It's not like it's exactly a flat line at exactly the limit and then it goes to exactly the limit. It's like it basically goes to the limit, and then it when activation energy is input, or is input, and then it goes to a new steady state that's either a higher energy level or a lower energy level. But it doesn't like go in like this flat line here. My point is, it's like vibrates and closer, like the Hermes staff maybe. Like in like the way this vibrates, it gets closer and closer as it approaches an equilibrium. Even though this is going the other way, just using it as a reference point, because I know it does that, has that shape. Not to make it like it's tied to it in that way where it's like approaching equilibrium, although maybe that's like how equilibrium is able to be maintained, is to go back down to the la 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 back to equilibrium. I don't know. Okay, let me go on. This here, I'm just thinking maybe that's related to these. Okay. What else? What else? This float across here. I wasn't even done with these things. Okay, entry point. I might have been mostly done. Path to Australia. Path along northwest South America. So that's when I saw this exit point. I was like, why is there an exit point here? I was trying to figure out the flow path. Like, I see this one. Like, I can see kind of like a flow just cutting across. So that one kind of makes sense. Like, it just cuts across, breaks through the boundaries, just cuts right through. But this one, I was like, what in the, why would there be, like, like, why is there one there? Like, I can see, now I see this boundary. Like, okay, it must have just carved through this boundary, this region, and just went straight through. And just went straight through also at that point. But then that's when I realized, wait, what is this anyway? Like, why is this shape here? Like, this is not the shape of the structures above it. Like, kind of, but not really. And then I'm like, wait, this is from South America, I think. Like, it bent there, so like it did, and that's so yeah, so like it does definitely come down between North America and Africa, runs into South America. It does. It looks like, now that I'm looking at it, it does one of these bend things, like it does above by the Himalayas. Where was I just at? No, there. Yeah, it does one of these bend things. It totally does one of the. So it runs into resistance. Because it's running into resistance, it creates a bend. It doesn't just like do one of the bend things. It literally piles up material at the bend because it's running into a wall of resistance. Because essentially this was across and around. It was much more not a like protrusion here. So that's probably, let's go back here. This protrusion must have just been because there was a polygon there, here at least, that the flow was coming down and meeting enough resistance to create one of these. And this here is where Dwarka, see Dwarka here, it flowed through this way. We'll get to that though. So down here it does it too, it looks like, and creates this one. But then it bends some of it this way, bends it this way, but then it's literally, like, here's Africa, here's South America, it's just bending it into a corner. So then it starts drilling in, trying to just channel between them, like through the corner. Because it's bending this way, so its momentum is this way. So as it's channeling, it's also channeling this way. Starting to like get through here and then to here, where it also ultimately it recombines with flows. Wait, where am I now? Oh. This one cuts across. Oh, look at that smear. Oh, it's almost like the drilling. This drilling is like trying to break the bonds to really get Africa and South America to break, because that's like a significant part of the Earth actually being able to expand, is to get the bond between the two broken. And then it does, and literally just skips, like boom. Suddenly South America is just over here. Because South America, the flow was coming this way around it, and then it essentially came into here, and an explosive force was going off that literally just shoved into South America. Just fucking shoved it, pushing this huge wave of mountains into being. And also moving it in a way where it physically slid on top of the layers, leaving behind an upper layer, or a lower layer of this segment of it, at least. Whereas maybe the explosive force that went, essentially it went this way, it physically went this way, not only underneath South America, because it started to carve under here, as well as going through here, as it went around, as it went around here, where is it? Around here, and then around South America. Maybe I should just do this one. Like, I guess maybe it restarts from like right here, like over here, kind of. And then it essentially, here is a major turning point, like right around here. This bend here is where, like, explosive forces started to really just like erupt into South America and push it. And probably in the same way as breaking the boundaries, it really like broke boundaries here and went underneath it, but also underneath it here, and left behind just this segment, basically, or this segment, really, not even the whole of it. Some of it's just like piled up debris, but like this segment here, maybe up there, I'm not, I think just this especially. Somewhere like here, I think there, right there, and maybe through there somewhat. I'm not quite sure exactly. But it looks like it literally cut off that segment of the undercrust of South America. And that's literally right there. It's right there. It's missing. It's missing. And then it went through this way, though. But it was also probably like getting the flow through, just like widening the gap more and more to allow the flow to actually make it through to the other side. Okay, so where else can we go? So that flow, we can stay here a little. So this, let's go back. Once it, this channel that's going this way, and this channel that's going this way, and also this way, I believe, just like kind of cutting across somewhat. It essentially, it provides with the boundary, because there's a boundary, like it breaks through the boundary here, which is at Los Angeles, basically. So this boundary is broken at Los Angeles, breaks through, goes out to the Asia, basically. I'm not sure exactly where it goes. It probably can be pinpointed from this map at this point. That's how good this map is for this. But like, and some of it goes up here, like it literally goes up here, through here, into Yellowstone. Here's this, here's like a ripple out here into this thing. Up through here. Here's one. Here's one. Probably just kind of flows under the continent. At that point, once it gets through here, it looks like it just kind of flows through, cuts little channels, just flows through while meeting the other side, which is probably why there was the Rockies, maybe. Like there's a collision of this wave with this wave, which then is influencing the terrain, producing the Rockies. Maybe. I think the Rockies are very, very much related to this. I'm not sure if what I just said related, but certainly these mounds being pushed up by the channels are where the Rockies are. So maybe just the channels, by carving their paths, push the Rockies up because there's a boundary here. Although I'm also not sure where the actual like I think this some of this did not exist, perhaps, is like this section, maybe maybe the previous edge of this boundary here, the previous boundary was more here. Like here, I don't know, or something. Because some of this happened during the process. So it's probably that it's flowing in this region. Just like, I don't know. Building up a wall. Certainly built, if it wasn't there, it built it up somehow to basically produce a basin to hold the material into a larger new continental shelf region that has a boundary like this. Basically a supportive structure that allows for like an increased boundary to the continental body, because it was a smaller continental shelf when the Earth began to expand. Okay, so anyway, let's move on. Yellowstone seems to therefore be very closely tied, and all of them pretty much, except the really old ones that were before like 600 million years radiometric dating. All of them are tied to this flow of energy underneath the crust of the Earth. Okay, so let's follow this path to Australia. I believe this. I just said that ultimately because I'm like, well, this flow really most of its flow is probably gonna be like boom straight outward. Like some of it's gonna deflect up this way. But really, although maybe it was just straight outward until, oh no. Well, I'm just trying to really figure out why let's just say this boundary is here at the time, or a boundary is here that's gone completely, or maybe was here. Maybe it was there. Maybe this was the old boundary, like up here ish. I don't like this way. Which maybe would make sense why the Yellowstone is Yellowstone, because this channel is feeding into that old boundary. That system just exploded and is now just filled with magma. Just filled with magma. Maybe it didn't actually destabilize enough, like it just held the magma in the structure. This looks pretty good at holding magma. Although, just all of it looks pretty good at holding magma. It doesn't really have the, like, exit channels. It has to flow, like, this way. Which is probably too far to flow at this point. It's probably more just focused in the puddled. It's just puddled. Just puddles that are hot enough to never actually solidify under enough pressure, maybe, if they need to be. I mean, they must need to be, but maybe there's just enough heat down there. Just enough heat, literally. Okay, so let's see. Then the flow here. Let's cut across. Let's just follow this. See if we can follow this. Maybe this line. Although it may be more accurate to follow something else. Let's start this line. See if it. It gets really confusing. Oh my god! Look at that. This is. Whoa. This is where the Earth supernovaed. So it goes through here, like through to south to Australia, which is physically positioned. Which is physically positioned here. Or here, like wherever, here maybe there, or there, something around here. And it then explodes with such force under South America as to just essentially carve these just channels, these fingers out here, through the layer underneath it, but it physically pushes against it and moves Australia, from all the way. Well, not all the way. It just moves it, and then the ocean floor is then able to start spreading. But it moves it so much that the literal impact ring of that supernova, or that nova, is right here. Australia getting smacked by that flow coming out of two channels. It looks like it looked like two channels. So 1, 2. 1, 2. Basically pushing into a point, just like drilling in, and then carving in, but then like then it literally reaches the nucleus of Australia. Maybe that's what happens. It reaches the nucleus of Australia, like the entire continent's nucleus. Of all the continents that's able to supernova its nucleus, maybe Australia was the most able to. And literally moves it so far that its imprint is over here, huge wherever exactly it can be seen. I can for sure see it there. It looks like I can see kind of remnants of it out here ish. I mean, how big is that? Here's the Mariana Trench. The small one is like the... I don't think I can measure on there. Let's see. And this here, mind you, this right here is literally... I did have that open, right? Is right there. It's a little damaged. But interestingly, it looks like it's got a lot of vibratory, like up, down, like a maybe shallogram reminiscent of. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. That's crazy. Literally, though, the path here from this channel points right to it. Dude, and then it kind of like it even starts to kind of like abruptly. Wait, where? I could have sworn it pointed to it. Oh yeah, I was like, wait, what's going on here? Oh my god, I lost it. There it is. There it is. Oh, crap. I mean, phew. This is probably... Oh. Wait, is that Australia or Hawaii? Oh, shit. Hawaii. Oh, shit, dudes. It's kind of like over here. It's like over here. The energy was coming down this way. It hit South America and separated this way or this way. And the portion that went this way just started carving along the coast. The energy that came out here that was hitting South America, I just am saying South America. That was hitting. There's another one. Oh, and it's only like half, like it's missing here. Here. Oh, that's probably what this is. Is actually part of an. Maybe it's actually part of that. Just like it's just gone from the record though. Over here. Although it's kind of visible, some sort of ring structure too. Just like, but anyway, Australia is here. Australia is here. So let's say it's coming in through like here-ish, maybe somewhere, or maybe I'm some reason I feel like all this other stuff is not actually there between them. It's just straight going right into it. This looks like it might be debris like this is in that direction, although it looks like it came from this way. It does look like it came this way. There is an island here, so maybe it's related to that. But, so when it was drilling into Australia, it was also going down the coast of it. Wait, let me pull up this. This will probably help. So it's drilling into Australia. This even looks like where it did it. Oh my god, is this like where the Great Barrier Reef is? Ha! It's the Great Barrier Reef! Is where it was drilling into Australia. Oh my god. That's incredible. That's incredible. Just drilling in, you know, like high energy flows here. Literally transforming them. The materials from like rock into like a barrier reef setting. I know it's alive still, but it really does seem like across like it literally, this process produced species. I don't know how. I don't know how. I haven't looked though, but now that I'm aware of that possibility, I'm a little more interested. I'm just not very biologically, biology uh, learned. Okay, so this one was drilling in there. Okay, pushing in there. But it was... This looks like... So this looks like Hawaii. Here. Does it? Let's see how long this is. Measured distance. 2,200. And then 3850. 2,200 and then 3850. Let's say like here to here. Not even close. Although, let me look at this. I started over here. I needed to start where this drilling started. Which is probably right there. Right there. Oh. It's certainly related to this island chain. Whatever this is. I think it's literally, it's drilling. Okay, that's what's going on. It's literally producing a ripple, kind of like how I said this thing here, how it like really distinct, like a shallogram, up down, up down, up down, like it's producing a actual, such a distinct, such a high energy ripple that it literally causes islands above at the red spots. So this is like a red spot, or maybe this one like a red spot, or pink or whatever. Like it's one of the upwelling. surrounded by this vibratory thing going on. Okay, let's see. This is really a lot of information to go through right here. Maybe I could follow this. Just pat back. Let's see where that goes. That goes to here. It goes to here, to here, to here. I mean, it's just a bunch of energy just ballooned practically. Is that what's going on? Like it even probably looks like it fans out from the point, like right here. It kind of fans out. Fans out. Here's this. Oh yeah, it just literally fans out. Particle. Or nova, or whatever. Okay, so let's go back. So basically right here it's Hawaii is right there. I mean, that's Hawaii. Hawaii seems to have formed in relationship to, like, at this point, the exit flow was basically, I guess, pushing material to the side. So here's the exit, like the exit point here. For sure, all this like blue, just like vibratory, it vibrated the islands out of the uh, out of the crust. Just caused vibrations, and then they froze there pretty much, and magma comes up now still. But like they're pretty much frozen. Like these are not extinct ones. They're just ones that didn't quite get formed as much because the energy. It started to form a wave, and then it. Where am I in this? It's so crazy looking at this because it's so much going on. Okay, oh, I'm looking at Hawaii, like actually. Right, is this the island chain? Where is it? This is definitely the island chain. Down here, it kind of goes here. This is shaped more by a nova. So there's another nova here. Looks like maybe some there, some little ones there, maybe. I don't. Okay, so Hawaii, what was I saying? Hawaii is generally like piling up here on the side, and then the gap opens between them. It comes with this side. It's enough with this side that it doesn't stay over here. This whole segment. Which is like essentially the blue and maybe some good chunk of the green stuff. Not all, but a good chunk of the green stuff here. Probably like all this blue stuff is all like one unit from basically when the one polygon, let's say, one big old. That's why it's even gets like a triangle in this one. Another one shows it as a hexagon. Maybe that one doesn't. This one shows it as a hexagon pretty well. except it's covered up by the Mariana Trench coming back over top it. Okay, so uh, I'm trying to find Hawaii. Here's Hawaii. So my thoughts are it just kind of caused the resonance to flow down what was literally like the side here. Before the supernova occurred. So basically, before Australia's particle supernovaed or novaed from the energy flow into it, it was also energy flows were carving along the edge here and just literally creating a ripple between Papua New Guinea and North America, like down between the polygons, and then just literally creating a ripple, and then the polygon that this was between was just the ripple of energy literally turned and went up this way. And then the Earth supernovaed, and then there's no more like fuel to this really, although the hot spot underneath Hawaii therefore would have been because it was kind of at that drill point. Like there's like this at the drill, but like as it's drilling in Hawaii is similarly at like a substantial drill point, but it's branching off, so it's not quite the same. It's more vibratory. I know sometimes I just say words that maybe are not the most exact, but you know, gotta figure out the ones that aren't as good as the other ones. Sorry if I make some slight misstatements here and there all the time. You know, if everything I've ever said is wrong, my apologies. I don't know. I guess it's possible somehow. I like somehow just because it's designed to be possible to believe whatever you want to believe. So literally, because I want to believe this, it's like within the data somehow. I don't know. Right? I think I don't want to believe it though. Like I'm just seeing it in the data, which is good that I'm recording it. So it's like, guys, this is how it happened. Okay, so this was, I mean, what else? Let's go to South America again. This is interesting. This to me maybe was like this when it started to move, when it started to spray here. Maybe it had some influence here as the because essentially my stance is this was not severed. These islands were connected. This was one unit really, and kind of just like this, just with subtle polygon shapes between them, just like this, where the energy flowed. And so Chicxulub was down probably around here, maybe here even. Maybe here exactly. I don't know if it can reach there or here, maybe there. And when it went off, when all these things went off, then it started to like, I think it sprayed like in this direction, I guess. This is why it was spraying, because this energy flow was just spraying it out into here, I guess, and just produced an arc. Also severed these two. So, but then it also maybe looks like it influenced the ocean floor here. I was more interested though in down here, just out of, looks like it came down here, it's kind of drilling in a bit. And then maybe here it like lifted off, drilled upward. That looks weird. Whoa. Then it goes down. When it gets into the polygon, it goes down this way and drains out of the tip here. Let's see if I can come up with anything from this too. It's just kind of cutting across, filling downward, cutting across. Built a pile here. And then Africa is going through here, but also probably going into Africa here. Okay, Pacific superplume is for sure can be associated with this and the, because I essentially like this thing got struck by lightning, probably essentially from the core of the earth, that was like so energetic that it created balance, maybe by causing this thing to supernova. Some kind of balance from this energy flow. Maybe it didn't need the core at all. The core's just hanging out. If there is a core. Ah. This thing's supernovaed. Went pushed this way, but also into South America. And threw it into Africa, causing the African superplume. So like those two, it pushed in two directions, kind of thing, like a shallogram, pretty much. Two directions like a shallogram. One direction was Australia. One direction, and the other direction it went under South America and through South America into Africa, and created the superplume there. So there's two superplumes on the African superplume, which also funneled probably through this channel up here, the channels up here as well, like all the different channels between the Africa. So this channel produced the African superplume that's like up here. Let me just pull it up. African superplume. Images. Actual map of it would be what I'm looking for. This maybe. Low temperature. Maybe because the Himalayas physically blocked the ether flow and it just ramped out at Tarim Basin and through the Himalayas. There's just anomalously low. That doesn't necessarily have to make sense. I just said it as a like first glance idea. I'm a little confused. Where is the African superplume?
Good after.
Okay. I guess blue is just the where it is in terms of crustal depth. Okay. So from, oh my god. Probably was from the core then. Like it was like a lightning strike from the core that then like branched in two directions. One into Australia, one into Africa, into Ethiopia here, especially piling there, but also through South America and into southern. Wait. Western Africa. I assume this is Western Africa. Maybe I should just click through this a little. I need just a good obvious picture. I probably have one. Downloads. Also, this is probably explainable. Look at that freaking spiral down the drain. Maracaibo, the lightning capital. Okay, I was looking for super plume. There's no way. Justice. Okay, can find super plume. Obviously, people who can read this map easily, I just would prefer it to be just like overlapping. I'm just looking for overlapping. This looks like already theory. This is what I'm looking for. Here we go. There we go. It doesn't show Africa for some reason, but this is like the edge of Africa, and then it goes kind of like this. So it's like maybe here, I don't know. Somewhere in the middle is the edge of Africa. So this most definitely fed by through this way. So it's almost like the core, like the energy was propagating through the earth, but it essentially went everywhere it could go. It went up through the North Pole region, it went through this region, and then it went through North America, and then into South America, and then into Africa, and it also went through the Mediterranean and south from there, and across into North America, and just basically started to flow, pile up here, and then flow this way, fill this, break through these barriers. This was actually probably not even difficult. Like the way this looks is because it's part of the phi ratio. Like this spirals. Maybe this is not the core. I'm not sure, but I think it's over here somewhere, but maybe here. It's a phi ratio that spirals outward, and then cuts or wherever it is, wherever the boundary is. Here, cuts across, literally across, but then the spirals are cutting across. So that means the energy flows can easily propagate into Africa. And so down here, this segment looks like it's had a little easier time maybe to get through. But then it was going through here, and then it's literally in like the core of the crust, like the 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 nauta the Nautilus shell, the ammonites. It's literally in the core section, like it was flowing through this region, and then it gets to uh, South America, which is kind of the part of this on the edge here, let's say here, and it just starts flowing into the channels this way, into the spiral. Let's say it spirals in this way. I can't even tell really, but it goes in that way. So there's seems to be some evidence that it actually did that there. Like the way these flow lines here actually are suggestive of like the ribs of like a shallogram. And suggestive that they point then like what, like the dots here, like they're just openings that kind of have some pile up after, and it flowed through there, but it literally filled the crust entirely, and then every continent is full. Probably, I don't know, I haven't looked into this. It looks like it came in this way into Antarctica from, let's see, let's follow this back this way. This way. Dude, what's over here? That is actually a little odd. That would almost suggest it came in, although, let me look around it a little more. It probably came in here, actually. This is more likely where it came in, like, first time. Antarctica is pretty lacking in the data, obviously. It's hard to get to and all, but here's one. I'm just trying to think like literally which direction is it flowing? Is it flowing this way and then kind of getting in this way? Or is it flowing out? Is this an outlet? It's probably an inlet. So this is probably an inlet. So where does this come from? Does it go up this way? There, oh yeah, oh yeah. Basically, it probably goes to here, wherever it was actually conjoined before. So there's also energy propagating, let's see, from Dwarka along instead of going along this side of the spiral of Africa, going down the other edge. So maybe down here. It doesn't seem very distinct, whatever happened here. It may have just gone in, just went in, and flowed down here. And went this way. I don't know. Somehow it generally flowed in from Africa and maybe from South America, the tip here. Flowed into Antarctica here and filled it. It doesn't matter. It just filled it. Whether or not it filled it. Actually, it does matter. It does matter. It blew its top matters. Maybe it just for sequencing matters, really. So it was probably just filling stuff. It was just filling all of the gaps, because I was thinking Africa wasn't really able to reach until like the very end here, but it looks like it was filling it from this direction too, and it was just filling like all of the earth with heat. like, and maybe not so much other than, and maybe producing relative voids in ways. And it literally flowed through that way, through Africa into Antarctica too. I think I pretty much hit all the continents, all the directions of flows through them pretty good. Literally, I mean, this also, this looks like where it hits this resistance, it came over this way. It didn't just wrap around, it also looks like it was able to break through the barrier here a bit and carve this way. So that might have played a role in what's going on here. Maybe this way, even joining this flow. Anything else? Yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty good, dudes. Holy. I think that is pretty good. I look forward to hearing from you guys. That's all I could say about that. Like, please. Like, if this is not persuasive that there's something that I'm onto, then I don't know what to say. Love you guys. I see you around. Thanks for listening and appreciate it.